we're both sick. I think Lucas is on the upswing. I'm on the down. So it's rotating. Not completely. It's definitely, you know, it hurts a little to talk, but I can talk.
Okay, okay, we can get going. I'll meeting to order, and at
Recording in progress.
7 o'clock, we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We've looked at the minutes from last week, 2 weeks ago. I move that we accept them as amended. I second that. And we'll vote. 3-0. Okay, we have an appointment to make to the Aging in Place. Kelly O'Neill. I move that we accept Kelly to the Aging in Place for the position coordinator. And she was recommended by the Aging in Place committee. I second the motion. Vote. 3.
Thank you, Kelly. Excited to have you.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
We will have that paper in with Heather, and you can come in and get sworn in.
Okay. Okay, great.
You're all
Another time. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kelly, I'm the treasurer, so I'm going to, I have your email and I will email the paperwork, really good ideas. Thank you. Also. This is
Tina, I'll give you her appointment thing, but make sure it goes over with.
thank you.
Okay, ordinance review committee has sent over amendment to the land use ordinance, and what it is to comply with LD 2003, which is the Affordable Housing Act, and the Ordinance Review Committee would like to have us send these amendments to the town attorney to be looked at. The only other thing I would like to say is MMA is sending LD 665 out to be looked at the legislature, but it hasn't gone to public hearing yet, and that would delay the LD 2003.
What was that, LD?
LD 665.
Thank you.
But the Ordinance Review Committee would like to proceed because if it doesn't get delayed, we won't be able to put this out for public hearing in time to get it to the town meeting. So I propose that we send this, I make a motion that we send this package over to our town attorney. I second that motion. And vote. Okay.
Is that on the website?
What's that?
Is that on the website?
This, we can put it on the website.
Thank you.
It's not there right now.
Who's the town attorney?
It's Amanda Meter.
Amanda Meter.
She's she does only town work, towns.
What are the meters?
No, no, she's not. She's from Winthrop. I'm not really in the meters.
Okay.
Can I have that, make a copy? Anything that you're discussing?
Yes.
I'll give it back.
Yeah, just one copy would be enough.
Yes, it's just gonna be,
Because I'm going to just email it to her.
yeah, it's just gonna be for
Yeah.
my backup everything.
Well, can I ask a question?
Oh, go ahead.
2003.
Yes.
Didn't we discuss at the last meeting that we don't have town sewer, city sewer, we don't have city water. So how can we be part of this? We haven't really discussed it.
When you have a lot, you have to have it perk test done for storage. And you have to have it drilled for a well. So we don't have to have
City,
city water
town services.
or city storage.
Is there a map anywhere of the rural development areas?
Yes, it's right in the next room. Yep, with the CEO.
Okay.
It shows the village district, the rural districts, all the different districts. It shows the wetlands, all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Well, we have two at the development
Commercial districts, yes.
areas, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe those maps are online as well.
Under what?
Let me check and answer you.
Maybe under documents. While he's doing that, I'm gonna continue
Yeah,
unless
yeah.
there's any other questions. We have a rat problem at the community center. And what I'm suggesting is that we hire Modern Pest rather than, they wanted to just set up traps, and that's not gonna work.
Modern Best is superb.
So I move that we hire Modern Pests and get that set up.
Can I second the motion?
You hear that, Anna?
Mhm.
3-0.
When you do, make sure you mention that we already have the contract with them for the town hall,
Okay,
because they should be able to.
make, okay. Next one is a North Road drainage project, which is between the fire station and Matt Dunn's house. I talked with two contractors this week. One does not want to do it. The other one, I will be meeting with him on Wednesday. And you're gonna be talking with one.
Right, just got his contact information a few minutes ago.
Okay. So we should have an update next selectmen's meeting on what's happening on that. Mostly because I want to try to get materials here as soon as possible.
What is designed for that drainage project?
It's gonna be a cistern. We're gonna dig it down, put a cement cistern in. And then a pipe down, a 10-inch pipe down into the stream. All been approved by the DEP and DOT. And then the stream itself is gonna be rocked. Both sides of the stream.
It isn't now,
No,
so you're creating a catch basin, so to speak.
That's what's gonna be installed.
Yeah.
Is a catch basin.
Yeah.
It'll be just on the fire department side of Matt Dunn's driveway.
right. Right. And we asked for an extra deep one.
Right.
Just so sand won't, when it accumulates, it won't go over into the pipe.
Okay. Wasn't there rock work done on that a few years ago?
Yeah, that's just it's not doing its job.
Hmm.
It's full of sand right now and it's all grass.
Hmm.
So it's a mess right
Okay.
now.
There's no uphill remediation to water bar or slow it down or something?
Yes. They have, if you look on the uphill portion of it, that has all been rocked and there should be barriers all the way up through.
That's not working.
Well, the final fix is that catch basin.
How often do you think it'll need to be pumped out?
They usually come to town once a year, I think.
Hmm.
You usually see them come in, there's, I think, maybe 2 or 3 in town that they pump out. Seven Lakes Alliance, Anna. They would like to have you continue for another 2 years. Any
On
objection?
their committee, that's fine with me if it works for you two.
Okay, they wanted to remind us that we have to, on our budget, we have to make sure we do matching grants for both the Long Pond portion and the Messalonsky Lake portions. And we already talked about it in the budget.
They have to be separate.
Yeah, we should identify the money, yeah.
What are the rules about select board members being on different committees and affiliations?
There's no problem with that.
You sure?
We've asked.
Yeah, we've asked MMA.
I didn't really get a chance to put this out, but, did you get a chance, Anna, to look at the public access to private records policy?
I don't think so. Did you send it over, Bob?
I don't.
It was sent out 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah,
And
Oh, I probably looked at it then. Hold on, I'll pull it back.
It's probably been a
I
while.
table it for another.
I probably read it then.
Okay, I'll table it for another 2 weeks. Spirit of America, I've got a name and I'd like to talk to you guys about it sometime. The ARP funding. Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, I forgot to turn it down if I find out answers it.
The ARP funding reporting has to be done by the end of April. Do you need any help on that?
I've never done any of it. I didn't have a password or anything.
Um,
Alice did the portal completely.
you want to work with Tina
Sure.
and see if you can do it?
How do we get access? Because it was set up, I think you and Alice were the ones, and so nobody else has access, and that has to go through the great gods of ARPA.
You want to try to tackle that?
Sure.
I'll show you. Yeah, we better get on it too. We don't want to get too close to the end of April, because everybody will be trying to do it then. Anything on the audit?
No, I had emailed
Everything's with them,
anything. Yes, it has been for,
so it should be closed.
yeah. I wasn't planning on checking on it until if I hadn't heard anything by Friday.
Okay, I'd like to talk about, Tina being on the, not being on, being the secretary for the planning board. And hear what your suggestions or opinions would be on that. Rather than having a high paid CEO be doing it.
I understand completely.
I think Bill's done a good job as secretary, doing the secretary and the recording of minutes and basically providing the minutes from that meeting. But I think Tina's quite capable, so I have no objection.
And
That's great for me if Tina is on board.
okay. So for 5. I'm pretty sure Bill would like to get rid of that.
I'm sure he would.
That's it all.
I move that we sign Tina up for the secretary on the planning board then.
Second motion,
Well, looks like 3 zip and 1 extra.
Ex officio.
Ex officio. I have a contract that needs to be signed. What's the date, 27th?
is
See that one? I gotta sit next to it, no offense. He's my favorite.
brownie points.
Yeah. You should taste the brownies, but. Really brownie.
All right,
This is the contract for the ESAP,
oh,
police,
dispatch.
yeah, dispatch, police,
Here.
and sheriff, state police, fire, stuff like that. Not fire. Everything but fire. Fire will be in Muskegon.
Did we find the contract or not?
Yes, I sent that over to Muskegon
Okay,
last 2 weeks ago.
but do we have a copy? Because we were looking for a budget numbers.
Oh, I have it. That's why I was waiting. That's what I just asked.
Yeah.
Because I was waiting for another signature, but I have it. Okay.
What I'll do is I'll go and make a copy of all these. And I'll give you the copies.
Oh, Eric, our ACO, was busy last weekend, tracking down some dogs that got loose. And he got some real good comments.
I saw that, yeah.
So I just wanted to let people know that he's out there doing a pretty good job. The flag is not being lit right now because the light is broken. It's pointing towards the ground. And they have something here. Not fairly expensive, it's $90, less than $100, but it would be solar powered. But we could look at that for next year's budget.
Okay.
That was brought up by. Yes. We might look at that too.
Which one? The light.
Yeah, it's solar.
There are a lot of them around.
Yeah. Okay, the other thing, Anna, do you remember when we voted for the CEO to get the $175 to come to town on an odd day? Do you remember that? Could you dig it out and see?
Yeah, it was a while back. I can dig and see if I can figure out which meeting that would have been, if that would be.
And I think
It's something, because it's not lighted now. You said it's $90. I will personally buy it. If somebody can install it, just so that we get the plug lighted.
really
I'd like to do that.
very, very nice.
So, do you want me to order it, or do you want anyone to?
I'll be glad to come and put it up.
There's no night lights or anything, right? There's nothing in the building that's lit, right, or whatever that would interfere with the whole solar thing.
No,
That's good.
Okay, this one right here?
yes.
Okay, I will order that personally.
And That's all I have.
I have nothing more to bring up.
Emma? We've gone pretty fast here tonight.
So I know, so Speedy Bob, I think the only thing on my list is the contract that, sorry, my internet's just a little slow this evening, but I think you just signed the law enforcement
Yes,
one. Okay, great.
yes, it was 13,000 last year, 16,000 this year. All of those contracts. What's that?
What is that for?
It's the contract for the dispatch for state troopers and sheriff, inland fisheries and stuff like that for Kennebec County.
Is that
Each
the
town pays.
911 thing or?
No, 911 is, we have a contract with Androscoggin County right now.
Okay, so how do you access it?
How do we access the 911?
No, the other thing.
The other thing, if you call 911 and if it's a state, if it's a, right, if it's a call where you need the state troopers, then that's what happens. It goes into them.
Okay,
If
so it
it's a
is routed
fire,
through the 911 system though.
both, yes. Right. They're more expensive than the fire ones.
Hmm.
Any questions from the gallery?
I have one.
Last meeting that I was at, we discussed this issue on how it was served. And I was wondering, has the animal control officer been in that area and dealt with the doggies? There was some talk about neither were. Nobody could find any registrations.
We're working on it.
Okay.
We have two issues there. One is the blockage of the road. And I'm working with the MMA attorney on that. And we're also working with the animal control. Since he's not a resident in town, he's still legally a resident of, I can't remember, Luna Falls. Yeah. We're trying to track down where his dogs are licensed. If they are.
If they're.
So, yeah, we're doing that.
I have an amendment to that when you're done.
Huh?
I have an amendment to that issue when you're done.
Yeah. I'm done.
Right here in the comprehensive plan, it says identify one or more abandoned town roads to be developed and maintained as new trails. Ideally, ones that can be linked into the existing system. Why can't that be part of this?
Yep, that's exactly what I was gonna
Well,
try to do.
the reason is because of the way that the roads revert back to a
Right.
landowner property.
But has that been established? When was that established?
Well, that's what, and I'm not an expert, but I just have done research and, if the property owners wanted to, look at it a little bit, you just have to look at the last time anybody from the town did work on Hubby Loose.
Right.
And it's just.
So who's gonna let us know that?
I'm working on it. It hasn't been worked on in over 30 years, so it's technically abandoned.
Yes, I don't think.
However, what I'm working on is, and this is what we did with the other town abandoned road, is label it as a trail, not a road, trail. And that gets it something a little bit more other than just being abandoned. It gets it a little bit, I don't know what you call it.
Just to give access to the.
So how do you establish that with the landowners?
The landowners actually own to the middle of the road.
Right, so how's that all rectified?
And how do you do it after the fact? Because that's already happened on.
It's still a public easement, right?
No,
That's the way I read the abandonment thing.
the problem is they mix
I think we
terms.
sent it out.
Right.
They mix terms, and the term public in that case would be the two property owners, not John Q. Public.
Right.
It's not like.
The
public,
second
it's-
method simply lacks.
it's a
town
group of
maintenance,
people.
right?
Yeah, so it's probably the peoples whose land abut against it, and I'm not laying down fact to tell anybody anything. You could probably interpret landowner abandoned roads and laws in any way you want to, and if you're willing to get an attorney, there's a case for you to use as precedents, and it's complicated, so.
Yeah, I'm trying to get some,
I say,
it's
I
not
could care
easy.
less really.
Tax map still show that it's town.
The problem with the tax maps though is.
Yeah, you can't go
God
back.
bless Andre Doobie, but he did them by hand and they're not for navigation.
Yeah.
It still shows that it's town.
Yeah.
But then abandoned.
Yeah, because the town,
Still put a culvert.
but that's a perfect example of where the town gets into trouble, because the town doesn't decree that it's abandoned.
Right.
It's like a people's rights
They
thing
just
that the
ignore it.
people go, we take it back, so. And again, when your road commission thing, if you don't purposely maintain roads that you want, then the town gives them up outside of the town's.
And my question is, if I send someone in there to take that, the brush or whatever is blocking the road, if the town goes in and takes that out, does that,
Yeah,
Well,
you're
that's-
trespassing.
right,
I think you're
that's,
trespassing.
right,
Well, it seems to me that there's a lot of i's that have been dotted and t's that have been crossed in terms of defining when one ends and the other begins.
I think we're all concerned
right.
people here for
Is
the
there-
right reason, but it's between the two people who's
Is
property.
there a way to identify these
Yeah.
trails that you've been using
Yeah.
ever and ever?
Yeah.
And for the town to go in now
The way it
and
was
make
explained.
a
it was that-
comprehensive plan
Procedure.
to protect those trails.
There's no special town vote to close it.
It seems to me that rather than deal with this
For the public
on
easement.
a
look at
one-on-one
this.
basis sometime, maybe you could go in and protect these trails. I know many of the town residents have been riding horses on these trails. People have been walking these trails. And for new people to come in and assume that this is Connecticut or something.
Right.
So let's go back to the initial problem that was brought. So this, the initial problem that was brought was that there is a 14 by 20 shed that was placed on the property. Supposedly it was a code enforcement gave a permit for a shed.
Yeah, I think that was a-
Living within the shed.
Yeah, you're right. I
There
don't
was a
talk about
sliding glass door in it. There's an entry door, there's a wood fence that was smoke coming out of it all the time. And if the dogs are there, they need to be licensed in the town.
Yeah, I forgot.
It's not that there, you shouldn't be allowed to have all the farm animals. Because I currently have two of those pigs destroying my yard right now, and animal control works.
I saw that before I left here.
So how do you still live in one town and be living in this town with pigs and dogs and stuff?
Because it's mail, when I send a letter to them, it goes to, yeah, and I'm sorry, I didn't get a hold of Bill, I should have. Yeah, I'll do that, too.
That would be initial.
Yeah. That's,
Just
that's
threaten
more.
with the Mount Vernon militia.
Yeah.
When Mark was around me.
What's that?
They have a very, he has the exact same situation as on Courier Hill Road from a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah.
that We were talking about, and that's the only reason I know is because this is where your property sits is essentially the same as my property.
Yeah.
So you, all of these people you named here, your public right of way is between 46 B1, 46D, 46E,
Yeah.
46, 45, they are all the people who are considered public. It is your right of way.
Yeah.
Up to that 49 feet.
Mhm.
But the problem is you'll never figure out on the deeds, even if you read the deeds, because they're from King Charles, the King George.
Yeah, mine's actually written.
It'll say something about a stone wall.
Border of
Yeah.
Puppy Loose Road.
That's the stone wall is now obliterated, and if people want to squabble over a couple feet, but the point is where that thing, the precedence of where that trail is established. You all have right to walk on it all the live long day,
Right.
and nobody outside of this.
Nobody put a tree and a rock across it.
Right.
But I mean, my original question before I start reading it is there a way to to try to get a hold on this problem before it gets, before it becomes one after another, and see if we can preserve these trails, for general use. I mean, when I first came here, people let you on their property all the time, as long as you were not doing really stupid things, and then you got banned from the property if you did, whatever and ever. But people hunted here and hunted there, and everybody was, fine with it as long as you ask permission.
That's another thing. I'm trying to find out how much the town has right in this issue. We have a right with the CEO and the dog officer.
Right.
But do we have right on the road or the trail? I don't know yet. I'm waiting for answers on that.
The Maine municipal has chapter and verse. I mean, there's.
Right.
Does the regulation need to be rewritten so that it's clear?
It's a
sounds-
state law.
Yeah, state law.
The problem is there's pre-1965 and there's post-1965.
There is a bill before the legislature right now to force towns to accept these roads, but it'll never go through.
Yeah.
Everybody is fighting it, so.
The one thing that I want to say is that although I don't like the situation, I think it would be very unfair after the fact when landowners
Yeah.
have not, the road is abandoned, so now they own up to the center. After the fact, for the town to come and say, no, this is public trail.
Yeah, you're talking eminent domain stuff.
Yeah.
That's bad news bears, but it's very important. I would just add that I think that little road commission question that you brought up last time that we were talking about, that this may be one of those things that
Well, yeah,
people who are thinking about this on a regular basis can decide with purpose whether to abandon or not abandon. And when the last part is in the land ordinance, we purposely put major and minor public roads.
Yep.
And they're listed, and the seasonal roads are listed, and the ones that are not are in jeopardy. Even the seasonal ones are in jeopardy if they're not comprehensively looked at with what we're plowing and what they'll be abandoned. And you could do that with the trails and go, hey, these are trails, and maybe that's where things where you bring like the snowmobile club or maybe an ATV club back for all-purpose stuff, that you're thoughtfully and purposely doing that every year. You're asking permission, and now you've hedged this off in the future to keep it. In fact, that's in keeping with the comprehensive plan.
are you willing to be on the road committee?
Yeah.
Anybody else? It's gonna be in the newsletter. As soon as that goes out.
If I do it, Aaron will do it. I don't know.
If Mike asked me.
He's gonna make me ask him politely.
About time you did some.
About,
Oh.
you don't want to.
You could be an advisor.
I will be sitting back.
No, we'll figure it out. We can figure out if that works and how many people or whatever. Tell we all get into those things and plan.
People,
Maybe.
anybody else? You got? No, really? Anybody else have any? Oh, you have some? Oh,
What's happening with the fire department?
what's that?
What's happening with the fire department? I mean, do we have one? And if we do, who is it? And who is bad? And
We don't have a big one, but we do have fire department.
how many people are on it right now?
Seven
Really?
or so.
So if my house caught fire tonight, there would be at least 7 people in the town that would respond?
Well, you'd have more than that because we have an agreement with all the towns around, mutual aid.
So what exactly is the default then in the fire department at present? Do we have a fire chief?
Yeah.
And what is the term of that fire chief?
It's until he retires,
Mhm. And the assistant?
until he retires.
Why was there such a loss in the fire department of staff?
Well, I don't know, Dana got out, I don't know. COVID hit hard, a lot of fire departments lost people. People don't volunteer anymore.
Hmm.
Um,
So how's that gonna be remedied?
You
Is
talk,
there a
you
remedy?
talk to the Walden Fire Department, they usually have 30 volunteers on that. And they're lucky if they have 15 now. So it's not just the rural areas, it's also the towns, the cities.
Statewide.
Yeah, it's hard to get someone to.
Chief does retire this May.
You know, it's hard to ask someone to volunteer because you gotta do the trainings, you know. It's not just the trainings here in-house, you've gotta go to fire attack, you know, and stuff like that.
So what is gonna happen when this fire chief retires? Is there somebody in the wings? Is
He's
there?
fairly young. He's one of the younger ones, actually.
Okay, and he's retiring in May, Doug?
I've been told.
Jason?
Him and the deputy chief, I've been told that they've already spoken to you folks about it.
No.
I've heard it from a couple different places, actually.
Ron is cutting back, yes. I don't think Jason is.
Is that something to watch? So many people.
Diana and Mount Vernon
Yeah.
trained together.
Yeah.
You know, they're working very close together. They have low numbers too. So, yeah.
Okay.
I just did a head count. I'm not sure if this has shifted at all, but Jason asked me to take the department photo. This would have been in the fall. So I just did a head count. And that was at 16. That includes a couple junior members.
Yeah, I didn't count the juniors. Rescue's in the same situation. They've got 1, 2, 6, maybe. Anything else? It was easy. Mike? I guess we get to go home early tonight. Yeah.
Don't make that happy.
Nothing personal.
They had something to say or?
Layton's, no, I think they know we're working on it.
Oh, okay.
We're working on it. Yeah,
This is 2 inches diameter hole.
He is living in this 14 by 28.
Look
It
at
can't be just the
Okay,
10.
that's why I would have.
Those are
I
quite a
don't
bit.
see how he's living up there. He can't even drive in there. Well,
Yeah.
he's got 4 wheelers now.
Not paid attention to the diameter, right?
On Facebook. It is his Facebook profile picture. People don't generally do that with sheds. Yeah, and there is definitely wood stove and, you know, but that turns out to
We're
not.
starting to
be
wade
as
anything
bad as
that I would
happens.
not be wading into.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll tackle some of this.
Like, I feel like the codes are that he has to have that further back.
Yeah, well, code enforcement will be here tomorrow, so I'll talk to them.
I have a general question.
Yep.
Who hired Tina?
We just,
But as a select board, are you not allowed to hire and fire?
we are the only ones that can hire and fire.
Oh,
We don't have a town manager.
right, so what is actually Tina's title?
She's this administrative assistant for the selectmen.
So shouldn't we change the actual definition of municipal governance to include because the types of governance that home rule puts out, okay? Right now, Mount Vernon is only select board town meeting, but
Yeah.
we need to really change our definition if we have a administrative assistant, because that becomes part of the definition of governance.
No. We've had an administrative assistant for quite a while. This is not an administrative assistant that does, yeah,
I was an administrative assistant in another town, and what you are you're the town clerk, you're the treasurer, you're all of that, plus you are their
Doing in the
assistant.
office.
No.
This is a
Yeah.
different kind of government. This is, you have an elected,
Yeah.
you have an elected clerk. I was the administrative assistant, which I was a town manager as well as the assistant to the select board because they didn't have a town manager. So they have different styles of government, and that's an administrative assistant is different than
Yeah,
what
you
I
have to
am
look
here.
at what we have for a job description.
I'd love to do that. Where can I find that?
It was in the newsletter when we posted it.
Well, not everybody gets the digital version of the newsletter.
I know, I'm just trying to say where you might look for it.
And since she's a normal range, she wasn't appointed, she was ordered.
That's right.
There you go.
Oh, right here. See page 3. Oh, right here. Oh, you got it? Oh,
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm getting some.
How often is the comprehensive plan reviewed?
Every 10 years.
Yeah,
So when is that?
usually longer. What's that?
Is that, it's a state law.
It's a state law.
The towns have to
You
have.
don't put it on the website?
Yeah, most towns don't usually do it every 10 years. It's usually every
And it's already on there.
10 to 20,
Yeah.
depending,
Okay.
because it is a very long, it's like a 2-year process to come up with a
And
comprehensive.
it was just done in 2018 and 19.
2019, I think. Yeah.
It says right in the background introduction, it says every year, each and every goal and policy should be reviewed, progress evaluated, revisions and new policies proposed to meet changing circumstances and new challenges. Is that happening?
We are working on the policies right now.
It's an ongoing process.
Every year?
Kind of ongoing.
Okay.
Pretty much.
So how does a person come forward and address any of these issues in the comprehensive plan? Who do they go to?
Us.
Okay.
And then it might be referred to the planning board or the CEO or animal control.
Yeah.
I think there's some language in the comprehensive plan that could stand to be removed and maybe more broadened. Instead of actually targeting solar or targeting broadband, the initiative is not necessarily specifically broadband or solar. It's alternative energies and alternative internet options. So the fact that it's targeting these things specifically is a little bit harsh because it really allows and preempts any possibility of any other thing because it states it so openly. Yeah.
It's a good idea.
Well, it's voted at town meeting. right?
Yeah.
So we would have to go to the town meeting, not us.
Right.
But it wouldn't hurt to start keeping notes for
Yeah.
the next iteration of it.
Or you have 5 years now, I mean, it takes 2 years.
Yeah.
You start to figure out a window to rewrite or. Work on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, two, 3 meetings ago, it said that you were going to produce a financial report on the monies that the broadband committee had spent already of the ARPA funds, and that never came forward.
That actually, I may be holding that up because we do have one that Bill Rosenberg and I want to agree on the bottom line. Pretty close, but it's in the budget, but just in very, very general terms, the broadband,
Broadband spent 34,000, right?
it's on the back.
What were they originally allotted?
The special town meeting a portion of the original ARPA funds. And I can't remember the exact amount. Broadband has spent $74,035.75, which includes the last iteration to bringing to the contract writer.
And what do they have remaining?
My understanding, we were discussing that, my understanding from discussions with MMA and then the select board, that because of the way to vote, there were no more expenditures to be used for broadband.
What if they have a surplus from the original amount?
I'm not sure yet.
That my understanding was expenditures were done, period. That was my understanding, but there's some question on that, which has to be reviewed with the town lawyer.
Money should stop falling.
We're trying to get a legal opinion.
Expenditures after that, it's.
The only expenditures that we've had, or I would have been fighting, the only expenditures we've had since the vote were ones that were committed, people doing work, and the bill came in after the vote. Like there was some cleanup grant writing work that
Yeah,
had been billed.
that makes sense. If the work was contracted and happened before the vote
Right.
and it got paid out after the vote.
Yeah.
That, it just depends when it's allocated.
Yeah.
If it was allocated before the vote, then that makes.
Yeah, because we just got from the one person contracted to do some writing.
French, right?
Yeah,
But no new money should be.
no new money
There should be no
should have been
expenditures post
committed. Yeah,
whatever.
that was my understanding, but there is some question on that.
So
We
then,
got conflicting messages on that.
and that's where there is in fact a lawyer session scheduled, whatever, to answer those questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there already a date for that meeting or?
No. Not yet.
So at the town meeting that provided the vote, okay, what exactly were we voting no on? Were we voting for no broadband in the community, or were we voting no
That
for?
particular budget, particular project.
The vote was to authorize the going into contract to do this and to get bond and a grant.
With
For that
matrix.
project.
With matrix.
For that
Yeah.
project, it's, yeah.
So they're free to come up with other projects and bring it before
Right.
you guys or whatever.
If
And
someone wants to do something much less expensive, and,
But we can't,
but.
my
yeah,
read
we have
was
to go to
the,
vote.
using the ARPA funds, it can't be a new expenditure without going to a town meeting vote. So we can't just have a really good idea that comes up, oh, we can get this trail made or something. If we buy off the landowner, which would be a reasonable thing, but we can't use the ARPA funds for that until it goes through the town meeting.
Okay.
Apply towards the bridge account, get the bridge on Blake Hill fixed, correct?
Right,
Because it's our money, it's infrastructure.
Actually, that still would require another
it
time.
would still have to be voted.
What would, using the ARPA money for infrastructure repairs?
Yes.
Yeah.
Any expenditures of town, ARPA can only be used on certain things,
Mhm.
infrastructure type things, according to the grantors of ARPA money. But at the same time, the town cannot do expenditures that are not authorized by a town meeting vote. So we have ARPA funds, so we're limited in what we can use them on. But like I said, if somebody comes up with a really cool idea, those ARPA, we can't expend those ARPA funds until it goes to a town meeting vote and the town agrees that that expenditure should happen.
Okay. In terms of the roads and infrastructure, who's actually got a list of what's needing to be worked on and a priority list per se of what needs to be worked on?
Working on it.
Who is?
We done, our road commissioner.
Right, but when you say he's working on it, I mean, what does that mean? What does that mean? Does that mean he doesn't have a list and he's going to create a list?
He was supposed to give it to us very soon. We're supposed to get it before next budget meeting,
Which is,
next Saturday.
Right now, because we don't have a road committee, sorry, I'm stepping in for a minute. Because we don't have a road committee, it falls on the road commissioner to do the priorities of roads, and that's kind of the background information for his requested budget and going forward with the budget for roads on town. line.
Okay, so next Saturday you have the budget committee?
Yeah.
When is
10
that
o'clock.
meeting? And in the morning?
Yeah.
Here?
I would say the budget for next year's roads would be Pat or the Bean Road and the
Dunn's
Sadie
Corner.
Dunn Road.
And Dunn's Corner.
No, Dunn's Corner, we've got the money on it.
Okay.
That we have the money.
Okay.
So it sounds like right now you all are helping, as you should, I guess, make some decisions about what and where, and
Trying to steer them.
yeah.
But we
So
knew it last year.
what is the ambiguity about the Blake Hill Bridge? I mean, why is that just like not a thing you don't want to talk about it, or there's no talking about it? What?
We wait for the state.
What for?
They own it.
They own it. Okay, it's on a 5-year plan. Okay, with the state. By 2025, now I'm shooting from the hip here. I can't remember the full thing. It's on their schedule right now. It was not on their schedule last year. They are allocating $2.5 million for the bridge. And it is supposed to be done by 2025. When I talked with them, they were not sure if we're gonna build it or they're gonna build it. If they build it, it'll be 2.5 million. If we build it, it's gonna be more like 1 million.
Now, how is it that we could actually have anything to do with it at all?
Because they're gonna abandon it. They're gonna,
Well, how is that a problem? Can't that be solved before then? I mean, what is the process to try to get that established and the i's dotted and t's crossed and then be able to move on it?
it's their bridge. We can't go and just take that bridge out.
No, but I mean, you've obviously discussed the idea of abandonment, so
Yep.
what does it take to create that abandonment?
We
Just to
voted
be fair,
100,000.
abandonment doesn't mean like,
50,000.
it just means that the state,
They were going to rip it out.
yeah, that was all.
They're gonna remove the bridge. If we're gonna do
Of
it,
course.
they're gonna remove the bridge. We have a design right now that will cross over and not touch any of the embankments. It's gonna completely cross over, and it was gonna cost 600,000. It's probably gonna cost $1 million now. We raised almost 300,000, I think,
But it was 250.
to do it, and the state would pay
60.
60.
I think 60%,
Yeah,
I
So
believe so.
basically, I'm hearing that you're just waiting for them to rip it out first.
They're not gonna rip it out.
Correct.
I know, I just don't buy it. They're not gonna, the state is not gonna cut their nose off to spite their face.
Right.
The point is, there's a process, and the state owns it, and they need to force Mount Vernon to do something with it.
Right.
Or Mount Vernon needs to play a long game and wait on the state to take ownership of it. But there's some sort of, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth either, but there's some sort of back and forth here that we're waiting on, but to be clear, I also agree that some of those, I think the funds we should use to do some of those kind of things, but
if we go in and remove the deck
yeah,
and build the bridge, they're not gonna give us a cent. So do you wanna spend $1 million of the town fund?
Or play with them and
Well,
have them
the
play for
problem is that the
60%.
weight limit on the bridge is being observed. There are craft that are going across that bridge that ought not be going across that bridge. So who's enforcing that to try to help the bridge stay standing while we're playing this waiting game?
Well, they should be turned in.
To whom?
The states,
That's a state code.
we can't enforce it,
just like any other.
It's them.
racket, since we don't have police.
right?
We need a trail cam.
Yeah. What's that?
I said, there's one there.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
the point of the weight limit is just like anything else structural. It's not that the bridge can't take it.
Right.
It just can't take it indefinitely. So it's gonna take, and that's the reason why if there was really a safety issue, the state would not let you go across it. There may be a safety issue they don't know about because of negligence or
Could still
something else.
collapse.
Yeah, but the 10,000 pound weight limit is just the structural limit over time to say you could probably go 10,000 pounds, 10,000 times based on some metallurgist math calculation. You know what I'm saying? So is it really a problem?
It was loaded when he went the
Not
other
really,
way.
but no state wants the liability to get ahead of that. So, you know, they would much rather have the town, they're doing the same kind of games with their budget that we are, but we could probably be more proactive about it and prioritize our needs. In my opinion.
All right, sure. Could that be taken to the state police now?
Yeah. You can see the horses.
Okay.
So basically, it falls back to creating a road committee that would then be able to create a framework for a lot of these activities.
Right.
Yeah, I think what Bob was saying last time, and I don't mean to speak for anybody here, but is that they need some help with some of these subcategories of doing business to give them options and prioritize and work within the budget.
Yeah.
Kind of like the legislature too, that people are making laws at the legislature that don't have the background for the laws that they're writing. And so road committee. Yeah, so for a road committee, that's really great that we could have some people that are have more expertise than somebody who might run for select board.
Yeah, there was, as I understood it, an article that you submitted for last year's town meeting to do engineering studies of all the roads. And that was turned down.
Yeah, big thing about the engineer would come in and look at the road.
Sure.
Well, they're not just looking at the road, they would do core drills here and there where they see problems.
Yeah.
And that way, they're looking under the road.
Yeah, I've been riding around on main roads for a really long time.
So-
I've been riding over the same boulders and stumps too,
Yeah.
so.
You gotta remove those.
Well, yes, but it doesn't take an engineer to take care of that. It just takes somebody who wants to go deep enough and create a solid enough road bed to actually sustain the water levels that we have to drive over.
Get the University of Maine to have it as a project so that their students could do the
There you go.
work and you wouldn't have to pay for anybody to do it.
It takes too long.
But it would be a good idea to like.
We did want to do that for the
do it.
bridge.
Yeah.
We contacted the professor up there. But it would have taken too long.
They're such a
Yeah,
good
it
engineer.
would have been great. But Aaron, we almost lost him. Right? That culvert was just about gone and that would have swallowed that car right up.
Yeah.
That's twice.
Yeah.
We wouldn't see him for a while.
Ever. Not even an answer to the.
We don't
Handsome
want to see
man.
him, we want to see the car.
Yeah.
He's driving very erratically since it's changed him. He's a very, staid, quiet accountant.
It would change me.
And now he's a moron out there.
It's like, oh, Batmobile.
I try to find out when he leaves work in Waterville. And when he's expected home, I text him because I want to be off the road.
And we'll watch out for the deer.
The deer too. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. The deer that kissed his headlight. Yeah.
Can I borrow this Mariah Carey, please?
Any more questions? I move that we adjourn
And second motion.
at 7:58.
Thanks, Bob.
And before you go, do you have the signed minutes from last meeting and the appointment for the at last meeting?
Make sure the pole diameter is right before I order that.
No, I think I'll probably, I don't.